Welcome to the WilZil Podcast. My name is Dawn Wilson and I'm your host today. I'm here to have one of the most difficult conversations, but so well needed, with Dr. Elizabeth Garcia. Welcome.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So first and foremost, I want to honor Mason, and I want you to share with us what he was like.
Mason was brilliant. He was 6 years old. He is a surviving triplet. He was born 23 weeks and he came into this world fighting. He loved music. He was autistic, but he was just God's gift to us in the most perfect form, shape, and he was just full of love.
Good. So what did he like to do?
What I learned that he loved to do was karaoke. He loved karaoke, and we did that a lot at home. He loved music. He loved old-fashioned music, like the old style music. I didn't know where he got it from, probably listening to my Pandora list. But I enjoyed Mason. He enjoyed watching him evolve in his own way.
Nice. What would you share with us about taking care of a child with autism?
What I learned about taking care of a child with autism, and what I learned from Mason, they're actually no size fits all. They're each different. So you really have to observe and go into their world. Right. It's about going into their world, and we need to throw away all the things about what we think that we should have in our home, because they come with their own sensory embodiment and things that trigger them and things that they need. But once you get into their world, it actually is a selfless world. It actually is a fun, silly, and stress-free world, because they create their environment the way God wants it to be. God tells us in the Bible that He wants us to be childlike. And so once we come down into their level, their perfect world, because I enjoyed Mason and I enjoyed the process with him and learning everything that he loved and understanding that he was a gift. And I would tell him that, Mason, you're my perfect gift from God.
Yes. And I met you through social media, through Facebook, and your videos of you and Mason are undeniably filled with love. And you can see the love that you have for your grandson as you speak about him. So thanks for sharing that. That's so important, because we want Mason's memory to live on, which is one of the reasons we're having this conversation. And we're going to go down a path of uncomfortableness. And I want you to share with us about your daughter, Mason's mom.
My daughter, she was very, before having the triplets, because Mason was a triplet, like I stated. Before she had the triplets, she was very go-getter. She was a licensed cosmetologist. She had her clients. She was very independent. But once she gave birth to the triplets and two of them passed, I saw a light dimmer in her. But she had to keep going because we still had Mason in the hospital, in the NICU. And she was really good at it. She would go there every day, take care of Mason. I did the day shift and she would do the night shift because, I was supporting my daughter through this difficult time. Plus, that was my grandson, and that's the most naturalist thing to do for your family. Once Mason was released, I did ask her to please go to see a therapist. And of course she refused because that's not the norm.
Mm-hmm.
And once your child is of a certain age, there's so much and so little that you can force on them to do because of the law. I did seek therapy because my younger son at the time, it did affect him and it was affecting me. And I noticed the difference, but I noticed in her, she was never the same. Never the same. She would always talk about those children. She would always cry about the Max and Mila, the ones that passed away. But she was a good mother. She was a good mother. She took care of Mason. She would make the appointments. I would just support her in everything that she did.
Okay. So share with us what you're comfortable sharing about what actually happened.
So I in our Caribbean community, we would say she met the devil. She met an individual and she was not healed. She met an individual, and I say she was not healed because if she had gotten her life back together, she had a car, she had a place, she was functioning, and then she met somebody who did not have these items,
the means,
yeah. And was living at their mom's house, and had, now that I didn't know then, but I know now, she met this individual and he brutally attacked my grandson, brutally beat him on January 9th, 2026. He was unresponsive, but was resuscitated back by the police officers, and we began to fight for his life. And he showed some signs, and then around that week, February 27th, and the doctors told us that there was irreversible brain damage, and we had to make a decision. Were we going to keep him with a trach and a feeding tube with brain damage, or were we going to allow him to leave on his own terms?
So no one watching this can even imagine what that is like to make that decision.
That is a very hard decision to make. If you have faith, and your faith tells you, you go to God and you run to God and you ask God to give you wisdom and discernment to make the right decision. But I knew I had a great relationship with Mason, and I saw the turn. I saw when Mason turned. When I say turned, I can see when Mason was trying to let go. I saw it that weekend before that 27, I saw it. I saw a shift.
So where were you? If you can walk us down with whatever you're comfortable with, how you found out, how you felt at that time.
How I, about when he was rushed to the hospital. I was actually working. I was in Atlanta. I was on an aircraft. They were cleaning it because I am a airline stewardess, flight attendant. And I get the call. My young son called me. Usually my kids don't call me when I'm working because this was go home day, and this was flight number 1, and I was about to do flight 2, so there was 4 flights in total. I had 3 left. And then my son says, Mom, you have to call Lewis, which is my older son. So I knew something was wrong. So I called my older son and I said, do I need to come home? He said, yes, Mom, it's really bad. It's Cynthia. I knew when he said Cynthia, I said, no, it's not Cynthia, it's Mason. I don't know why, but I knew.
Right.
Thank God for my coworkers, because they immediately sprung into action, because I think that I got so dizzy. They called my supervisors. They relieved me of the trip and they booked me on an immediate flight. I don't know how I got from Terminal T at Atlanta Airport to Terminal B. When I tell you, I don't remember that part. And then my son picked me up from the airport, and I didn't want to know the details. I mean, I didn't want him. Then when I arrived, I saw him with a brace in his neck and all these doctors on him, and I burst in and I just was screaming. And I told Mason that I was there. Grandma's here, Mason, Grandma's here. And he was rushed to the trauma center in Jackson Memorial Hospital, the Ryder Trauma Center.
I'm so sorry. Let's go back a little bit and talk about domestic violence. What is your feedback to anyone going through domestic violence? What can you share with us? Were there signs? What advice would you give to your daughter? And obviously you mentioned she's an adult, she's going to make her own choices.
Domestic violence has no shape, form, color, status. It could be anyone, any woman, any man. It doesn't have a gender. Anyone can be going through domestic violence. It could be the most person that you would think isn't going through it. It can be. So it's a silent killer because it's a person that shows up familiar. It's a person that shows up with the verbiage of love. It's a person who gaslights you afterwards, and you want to believe their forgiveness. You want to believe their actions, that they were sorry.
Yeah.
And you want to continue that relationship because you have this notion of the person you think that they are.
Right.
The misrepresentation that they represent to you. And if you are not healed, you will miss out on the red flags. Because although you leave a relationship that is violent, you will enter into the next one.
Right.
And that is what I have observed in this journey. What advice that I gave my daughter? I gave her support. I wanted her to know that she did not need to be there with that person. Her father gave her support, my ex-husband. So we were both co-parenting parents, still at her adult age, and we still work together for the betterment of the grandchildren. And that's important because we supported Mason. I mean, I was more actively involved, but whatever I needed, I would make a phone call and he would be there. He would actually take him to school one week and I would take him to school another week so that I could work. What advice that I gave her was to leave. I did send wellness checks to their home. When I say their home, she would go to the individual's house where he lived with his mother and his sister and his brother-in-law. And he didn't have a vehicle, but the sister would pick up my daughter. And I would tell the sister, do not pick up my daughter. You know your brother is aggressive. I didn't have proof, but I felt it, and I can tell. I can tell because when my daughter would go over there, you couldn't get in contact with her. Her phone would be shut down. So that is a form of isolation that they would do.
Yeah.
And when I would have conversations with him, he'd always blame my daughter for not getting in contact with me. And then his mother would say, well, you raised her. And I said, well, I didn't raise this version. So they were all in the manipulation. He had, you have to have enablers. So he had enablers. He had his mother as an enabler, and he had his sister and the brother-in-law. And they saw stuff because when they went to court and they went to take the stand, they filed a report on, the mother filed a report on the son's aggravated because he hit her and the sister. So, he has a list of aggravated assault, strangulation, battery, that I didn't know of.
Right. So I realize this is devastating for your family. How is your daughter now? What is she in therapy? What is she working on? I know there must be many regrets that she has Tell us about your daughter, where she is today.
She is working with a psychiatric doctor, and then she also has a therapist, and she also has a life coach that's helping her maneuver. Because life coach is really important too, because now we have to come back into this world that society wants us to perform normal. And we're grieving and we're in pain, and we may not say good morning because one word may lead to us crying, or even speaking just may make you just want to get through that day, and it's hard. It's hard to navigate into a world that expects you to perform at your 100% and you're not 100%. Your battery is on 25 and you're not the same. You're definitely not the same. And something can trigger it, and you don't even know that will trigger it. A song, a time, even moving. We're not gonna move forward, we're just moving along. We're just gliding.
And I absolutely relate to there's no time, right? It's that person is no longer here, and it could be a song. I have a song that triggers me from my best friend that I lost to cancer, so definitely understand. So how about other family members? Because I know a lot of people were close involved in Mason's life, his teachers. Yeah. We often don't think about them, right? The teachers and probably anyone else providing care and help and love to him. How are the family and you as a grandma? How are you upholding everyone?
The teachers and the whole staff at his school were amazing. They literally had a shift to assist me at the hospital, to assist me watching the babies. The teachers, some of them would spend the night with Mason because I didn't have somebody to watch. Mason also has two siblings, a 1-year-old, 1.5-year-old, and 8-month-old that I have temporary custody of. And these two siblings their father is the person who caused the abuse and caused the death of Mason, which that's another thing to navigate. These children growing up in this trauma of this story.
I know. And is that something you discuss in therapy? Are you able to share what advice they've given you to help you navigate that for the young ones?
I'm definitely going to make sure that they know this story. By having pictures around, reminding them. I do wake them up in the morning and tell them that say good morning to Mason. We have a big poster board. And so, although they're young, I still tell them that say good morning to Mason, that say good night to Mason, say hi to Mason, and say hi to your big brother. So I'm instilling that in them from young, that they do have an older brother. And they will look online and see the news clippings, because there is news clippings. They'll have their own perspective on what happened. And I hope to, yes, at a young age, take them to therapy. The youngest one, no, not the youngest one, the 1-year-old did come to me traumatized. She was talking and she was not talking. She would scream, she would bite. She wouldn't look at you eye to eye. She is doing that now. She is saying sounds, but she's not talking. Yeah. So we are getting her the proper help.
And where do you think you find your strength?
I find it with people like you, yourself, who reach out to me and say, hey, I have a platform for you to talk about Mason. It really helps. I find it in people sending me scripture verses when there are days that I just want to stay in bed, or I'm talking to God about something and then I'll get a call and someone would just reach out and answer the question that I was questioning. I find it in God, in that foundation that I've had all along. But, it's hard. It's hard because he was a 6-year-old child. He was my grandson, and you never think about leaving I was robbed of the years. His birthday was on Thursday. He would have been 7. So we had all these plans. We had like reservations. This would have been his first time at Disney, and we had to cancel all that. And I find it in friends who decided to help me do a karaoke party for him. We put it together, and it was the most amazing time. It was 3 hours, but it was a great time. We had to play all the music that he likes, to sing all his songs, to get together, to see them all wear his t-shirt and, come together to support me. That was good.
And for the hospital, I know, under these devastating circumstances, going to the hospital every day and sleepless nights, I can imagine. What were some of the highlights of what the staff did correctly or may not have done in your vision correctly to help the situation?
He was at 2 hospitals. The first one I had them moved to the second one. So I'll talk about the second one and then we'll jump back and forth. So for the hospital that he was at, where he passed away, they were really supportive. They were really on top of everything. They actually donated to the service $1,000. So that was really nice. But they had a lot of service for the families.
Good.
And they were very attentive, and they had a really good culture, bedside manners. One of the things that I think that especially the first hospital lacked, the awareness of autism, the awareness of not everybody that's on the birth certificate knows about that child. There was something that I did notice on both hospitals, is that the respiratory therapists, some of them did not take their jobs very seriously, because Mason needed a lot of secretion since he wasn't moving around. They had to do a lot of, but there were some that were really good, but they need more staffing in that area.
Okay. So with everything you and your family and friends have gone through, what are some of the advice you would give to us of what not to say to someone going through it? Because I'm sure there are things people say because we really don't know how to react.
Don't ask them how they're doing. Don't ask them, what are you doing today? Because we don't know what we're doing throughout the day. You can also say to them, hey, I'm gonna stop by. Just gonna stop by.
Yeah.
And you can help them probably clean up, or just take charge. You're gonna just come in and take charge. If you know the person, how they are, they probably want to do the bare minimum. You just want to lay in their bed and let them. If they want to watch a TV show, the series, just sit there with them. Or just say, hey, I'm just gonna leave you here, or I'm gonna go in the living room, I'm gonna clean up, I'm gonna cook a lasagna for everybody. Just take charge. Or I'm gonna order this for you. Or don't even say it, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it, because they can't make decisions. I can't make decisions. I can't help you solve your problems. So sometimes I'll talk to somebody and they're like, oh, I have this, and I'm like, what? I don't know how to help you with your problem right now. It's not because they're being selfish, it's just that they're processing their computer and their brain. They're trying to process what to do without. And they're scared. They're scared that the night is gonna fall. They're scared. For me, 2:00 is 1:30, because at 1:30 I would get prepared to go pick them up at school. So I don't want to be out after 3:00, because that wasn't the norm for my schedule. I'm still on that schedule. I'm still on his time clock. Waking up is horrible. So if you wake up, you can just send them a nice little scripture verse or something, or just say, I'm proud of you. Or come in the morning. If they have small kids, come help them. hey, I'm gonna show up there in the morning.
Yeah.
Or just show up with coffee or something they like. And just show up.
I want to commend you for being a remarkable woman.
Thank you.
With strength, with God's guidance, to even sit here and share with me and the rest of the world your journey after such a horrific, senseless crime against your grandson. Is there anything that we've not discussed that you want to share with us?
I want people to be vigilant and be presently when they're around people. Be present, don't be on your phone, because maybe you could pick up on something. Listen, be there. But we were called here on earth to be here for each other. And we lack that because we get so busy with our own life, with our own world, or doing stuff in the community, which is great, but sometimes our own inner circle or people just need us. And we need to start being more presently involved in people's life.
One last question for you is, can you share with us what it's like not to want to get up?
You feel paralyzed. And if anybody knows me, I usually get up at 3 in the morning. I'm up and you just don't want to get up. You just want to lay there. So how I feel, how it feels like you're doing a life sentence here on earth with this humongous pain. And then you wake up and you're like, really, God? You really want me to do a year of this? You really want me to do 2 years? When you hear stories of people that have passed and it's been 10 years, you're like, no, God, I don't want to do 10 years like of this pain. And it's a horrible pain. And you have it in your heart. You laugh, but it's just this pain. It's just over your heart. And it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. And there's nothing that could replace it. And there's some deaths that take a piece of your heart. But this death, for me, losing my grandson, took my whole heart. And I'm just functioning. I'm just here. And I'm trying the best I can on this earth right now. Just living. And I'm trying to be functioning for my grandchildren, for my daughter, for my son that's 18, who graduates next month, who needs me. I'm trying to wake up and I'm trying to look presentable. And I'm trying to get it right. And there's some days that I miss him so much. And I don't understand what happened and why it happened. And I just stay in bed. Because I just want to hear God. And I don't trust myself driving because I can't show up places and I have to cancel.
And it's okay. It's okay that you don't show up, and it's okay that you cancel. And it's okay that you find the strength on the days that you want to find the strength through God. And through your kids, your grandkids. We get you.
Because I love them so much. I love my baby so much. And I took care of him. I took him to all his therapies, doctors. I didn't, I didn't take a lot of trips or work just so I could be
there for Mason.
I loved him.
And I thank you.
Thank you for having me.
We thank you, Dr. Elizabeth Garcia, for sharing Mason's journey, your journey through grief. And if this episode helps at least one, hopefully more people, there's resources out there. We will share those resources with you as well. We want families, we want abusers to see what it is like, how you're impacting lives, causing so much pain and hurt. But we also want to spread awareness that God lives on. We don't know the reason sometimes why it happens to us or our families, but we do know we find the strength somehow on some days, not every day. So we thank you.
Thank you again for having me. And I hope that my purpose is that this reaches someone and they realize their worth and they realize to get out.
And we'll continue to follow this journey with you because I know it's not over. You still have the legal battle ahead of you. So we wish you all the best with that as well. Thank you so much.